Wow. Well, I guess the whole point here is that people are being arrested for stuff that they say instead of stuff that they do, and that's a problem.
Exactly.
That's
a big problem.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I have a third story, somewhat related to this topic as well. I don't know if you guys want to switch to something else, or...
Sure, go ahead with it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's the case of this...
Got props on. Go on.
It's the case of this young lady named Lindsay Shepherd. Is anyone familiar with this?
Oh, yes.
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm not. What's the story with Lindsay Shepherd?
So Lindsay Shepherd is a grad student at a Canadian university and a teaching assistant. And she, as part of her teaching assistant duties, and I guess the topic in class was was transsexuals and gender pronouns, etc. But she showed to her students a 5-minute clip of an hour-long debate between Jordan Peterson and somebody else.
That was aired on mainstream TV.
That had previously been aired on Canadian public TV before. And for this, she's been pulled up by the university, and she's in all kinds of trouble. And they're
just for showing a clip?
Yeah, that had been on TV.
In her class. So the fact, wow.
Yeah. Someone complained, but she's not allowed to know if it was one person or several people or what the complaint was. But she was dragged before a disciplinary body, which included a transgender or sexual equalities officer as well.
From the Board of Hate was there.
Yeah.
Question.
Oh my God! This is a real job now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But she recorded the whole
she
meeting.
Good sense to hit the record button on her phone.
No, on her computer. She was making notes on her computer, and she was recording the whole thing. And so if you go to YouTube and put in Lindsay, what was her name? Lindsay
Shepherd.
Lindsay Shepherd. You'll be able to get the whole thing, or you'll be able to see other interviews that she's done with people. And it's absolutely shocking what they think they can get away with.
And their rationale for her getting in trouble is that basically she shouldn't have showed anything from Jordan Peterson because he's comparable to Hitler, or they actually said he's comparable to Hitler or Milo Yiannopoulos.
Yeah, those are just like those are names that people on the far liberal left, like they could not handle a debate or a discussion with a Milo or a Jordan Peterson. There's no way. They'd get crushed.
Well, Jordan Peterson's actually said that he's glad that the Hitler tag's been put to him because he can no longer be brought any lower than that.
Yeah.
He's already bottomed out now. So.
Yeah. And also, it's kind of backfired in Jordan Peterson's favor because this was exactly what he was warning when he was standing against Bill C-16 in Canada, because he said we have no idea what this is going to lead to, and what it will lead to, he was saying, is the shutting down of free speech, essentially, and debate, and that's exactly what it's done. And so there's a lot of people who are saying, oh, don't make a big thing of this because it's actually showing that he was right. But it's just so outrageous when you hear what these people are saying to her in this dressing or supposed dressing down interview, and she does a really good job. She doesn't. I just think she really held her ground really well there. I think she did well. Yeah, they're saying completely irrational things that she was saying. What am I accused of, for a start? What law have I broken? And they say something like it's like if you were violence to a transgender person, something like that.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, it was a strong word, like violence.
They equate these ideas to violence.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, do you know what? For years,
These people haven't actually been punched in the face, have they?
Precisely. Thank you.
Word.
Yeah. Swami gets right to the point. This is exactly what was going through my mind, that where you have safe houses for women who have been in abusive relationships, when we're talking abusive, we're talking that they're being dragged downstairs by their hair. It's not because the man was speaking too loudly and was too enthusiastic in his white male self and wasn't allowing the woman a word in edgeways. It's not this. It's not about someone being offended just by the man used too many swear words or something. This isn't the type of thing we're talking about in these cases. It's that women have actually been physically, physically abusive and have actually been harmed. Now, they're trying to equate that to somebody hearing a word that they didn't like. And I just find it just remarkable that there are college lecturers who feel that they can use their authority to shut down free speech, essentially. And clearly it really is backfiring, because there are so many people who, and she readily admits that she didn't actually agree with everything Jordan Peterson said, but now she and Jordan Peterson are sharing platforms, and they accused her of being alt-right, whatever that means. But of course now people from this so-called arena are inviting her to talk to them and throwing their hands in the air and saying, well, there you go, we told you this was going to happen. So from them accusing her of being some kind of right-wing tranny hater, it's other people that they've accused of that are now interviewing her. So now they're pointing a finger going, see, we told you, she is one of them.
yeah, exactly.
It's just a self-fulfilling prophecy.
No, you know what the best thing about this is, just hearing the story. I haven't seen the video, but people behave differently when they know they're being recorded.
Right.
And the things that she captured on tape, I would imagine those people would not say them. They would have a totally different script and a totally different demeanor if they knew that they were being recorded, and it would all sound very flowery and loving. But what she captured there was one of those people in their element when they have their mask off. And it goes to show just how mean and nasty they are. And no matter what you think of Jordan Peterson and his delivery, the bluntness of his delivery, and this exemplifies everything he's saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And what I like about Jordan Peterson is that you're right, he is blunt. He won't use 10 words where one will do, but he's very erudite and eloquent in the way that he talks. But I did sense the floweriness, actually, about the way they were trying to they're just so passive-aggressive, these people. Yes. And I found that they were trying to sort of say, yes, but in what you're doing, you're actually, you've actually committed a crime. And, they kind of, put it over like this. And they tried to sort of excuse themselves from being fascists by saying, but it's all your fault.
Well, also, the guy on the tape who's talking to her is is himself a professor, I believe, and he's black, or at least not white. I think he's black.
No,
so and they've accused her of being racist now because she cries on the tape.
They accused her of using white tears, didn't they?
Yeah, because she's white, and her...
Yeah.
You got to check it out, man. It's sickening. It really is. And you made a brilliant point earlier, Swami, about saying that there's actually a job to criminalise these people now. It's just...
Yeah.
I can't remember the title of the person, but he's from some body which has been set up to deal with this sort of thing. So, it's a created situation, and they just basically create labels to put on people. to make them criminals, like marijuana.
The outrage industry.
Yeah. And she was saying in interviews she's had subsequently, she said, when I realised that it didn't matter what I said, they just saw me as being guilty. That she realised that, she said, that's when I got upset. She said because she couldn't believe that in a university that they would be stifling free thinking and free debate like this, and that it didn't matter what she said, they were very passively aggressively just saying, you're a horrible, horrible person, and you've committed a horrible, horrible crime, and that crime has been made up by us. And no matter what she said, they would just shift the goalposts to make her guilty.
All in a place where she paid to be. She paid to go there. She's paying to be enriched by them. She's paying to have them provide her life with the ability to reach potential. And now what? Now she's been tarred and feathered essentially by a system that she thought she was walking into. That was what it purported to be, which is a learning environment that fosters critical thinking and open-mindedness. But what does she find? No, she's in the Orwellian learning environment.
Yeah. And she'll be paying for that for the next 30 years.
Yeah. You've been demonized by it. You've been tarred, feathered, kicked out of the village, sent into the cold. And by the way, go get a job flipping burgers and send us your check.
Yeah, I mean, she reminded me of Alice in Wonderland, because suddenly she found herself. She thought she was doing the right thing. She had no idea that, she, not even that she thought she was doing the right thing. She wasn't doing something because she thought it was, quotes, the right thing. She was just taking a class. She was a teaching assistant, and she felt that there was open debate. She wasn't putting any kind of political spin on anything. And the fact that the material she was using from Jordan Peterson also included people against his stance, and it was from mainstream television and had been aired. So there was nothing there that was contentious. And
yeah, absolutely.
But she suddenly found herself in what she thought was a situation that was just regular and sane, and suddenly in a position where it was completely insane, and people are saying completely insane things to her. And when that dawned on her, that's when she became upset, and that's why I kind of feel like she's like Alice in Wonderland, going. She's had her rabbit hole experience, if you like.
Yeah, a lot of people talk. Sorry, I was just going to say, a lot of people talk about getting red pilled, like it's something that can happen really fast. But that story right there, that's a big red pill, real quick, right there.
That's a red enema.
Yeah. I mean, she's a smart cookie as well. Mm-hmm. So I heard Jordan Peterson say, they picked the wrong one, and I think, you did, because she doesn't seem like someone that's just going to fly off the handle and say something.
No, and she's not backing down either. She has a lawyer, and she's taken them to task for this.
Yeah, good.
But it's like what Jay said on Boiler Room that time. Like, don't try and use logic against these people. It's just, they're just ridiculous. I mean, I was thinking about, say she had been using Hitler rather than Jordan Peterson, right? Which presumably would be a lot worse. But
I think they would have allowed that.
But is that to say you're not supposed to acknowledge Hitler exists? I mean, surely in the college they teach some classes about World War II, right? History classes. Yeah. Is Hitler not appear in these classes?
I would think so.
Is it too offensive? I mean,
I don't know. You would think Mein Kampf and some other parts of that aspect would be good discussion generators for people looking to enrich their historical knowledge.
He's really, really demeaning as well about the students, this guy as well, because he says, because she's sort of saying, come on, this is a university. These are young adults. These are people who are, able to discern thoughts for, and make decisions, for themselves and come to their own conclusions. And he was saying, oh, actually, they're very young minds. And basically what he was saying was that we want them only to believe the brainwashing that we put in front of them. Right. We don't want them to be able to discern things. But he was being very patronizing and saying, yeah, they may be sort of 18 to 20, but, they're pretty immature, really.
So what do you guys think? I have a question I'll throw around the room here. Do you think an administrator like that in a college is predating upon young people knowingly by doing this stuff, by projecting this sort of crap into their education? Or do you think he's just another knowing dupe, another loving, you know what I mean? Another.
Yeah, I think he'll get his funding cut if he doesn't go along with the program.
I would
do
say
too.
the process loving. Yeah.
Yeah, it's economic, man. You got to fucking do as you're told, or you won't get no money.
What about you, Miles? What do you think? Is this guy, administrators like this, just an idiot? Like that same guy that was on Crosstalk that we were harpooning, throwing our own harpoons at on Boiler Room, or do they really believe all this bullshit?
I don't know. I think they're brainwashed. Just like, I don't know.
I can't figure it out, man, because I feel like some of them are and some of them aren't. Like, there's a bunch that are just, totally bought in, fully lost their marbles to it. But then there are a bunch, like...
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head when you were talking about the Sandy Hook people who get... Or was it Randy J that said about, here's a bunch of money, a one-off payment or whatever, however much a year. That's the sort of scenario we're up against here. People are getting paid a lot of money to push this agenda for whatever reason, for a hate, just to make people sort of go against each other.
Yeah, but there's people who are doing it on purpose, and then there's other people who buy into it. But
Hesher's question was the administrator of the college, and they are the ones who should know better. And they're pushing. They're going ahead regardless.
Well, apparently, this school, this university she's at, is a very left-wing, SJW, snowflakey type of
like Evergreen.
Yeah, they compared it to Evergreen State. Yeah.
Boy, there's a horror movie watching videos out of Evergreen College.
Yeah, we talked about that at length last week.
Ugh. Cringe.
The president who can't even move his hands when he speaks to them.
Oh, man, it's brutal. Yeah, these administrators, these are the types that will be attending the Chicago Forum on Global Cities.
Yeah.
So, ding, 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 yes, everybody's correct.
They'll be sat right at the back, sort of nodding their little heads like those little dogs you get in the back of vehicles. Going, yeah, give me the check. Please. Yep,
that's what it's all about with educators. It's about writing good grant proposals and stuff like that. And where do you meet the people? Where do you suck up to the people that give those? Well, at places like the Chicago Forum on Global Cities, where they will be there discussing a response to globalization. Interesting. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I'm sure they have some interesting responses to globalization. Combating climate change. Someone called that earlier in the show. What else? Powering global cities, city diplomacy, planning for disruption. There's an interesting title. Our presentation on promoting resilience and planning for disruption. Interesting. Talking about security state, livable city, healthy world. That's very chock full of Agenda 2020 jargon. Cultural evolution, there's one. I bet that'll be really fun. And breakfast, and then the urban crisis. I mean, it just goes on and on. So these people meet at things like this to come up with shiny new ways to, call their own students racists and kick them out of the school for showing a clip that was aired on television. That's really crazy.
Yeah. She won't be getting invited to any common purpose training camps, will she?